Hey guys, and welcome to the To My 20's podcast, and I'm your host Amanda, and this podcast is a new podcast, and you may be wondering, what is this podcast about? Well, let's get right into it. So, my name is Amanda, I'm Irish, I'm studying in France, working in Luxembourg. There's a lot to unravel, but just follow me along, we're gonna get there. So, in 2021, I got into DCU and I got into my course, which was a business and French course. And after getting in, I was like, yeah, let's go. University, let's do everything my parents want me to do because my parents are strict. So after getting in, I was like, this is great. I'm going to go to France for 2 years, be in Ireland for 2 years. But what I didn't realize is a girl had to start working. So we're going to get into more of this. But as I worked in Five Guys, I worked in the airport, I even worked in a restaurant as a hostess, and that didn't last long. And even those stores for all my Irish listeners. But through all these jobs, all the mistakes and failures and the friendships that I had to go through, I was like, what am I doing? Where is the advice? Where is the things I wish I knew when I was 20? I don't know about you, but I know when I see those videos on my For You page or on Instagram, I'm like, why didn't I know about this before? So this podcast is gonna all be about discovering and giving you advice so that you can handle your 20s and you don't have to go through everything and feel everything that you don't have to. Unnecessary stress, as one of my friends would like to say. But anyways, let's get into what we'll be talking about today. So today is going to be an introduction into why you need advice, because a lot of y'all are very stubborn and a lot of y'all are very prideful, and you're going to talk about that and talk about why that is not the case over here. So first of all, I want to just talk about how we will be having guests on. The guests I'll have on will be people that I look up to, people that I know that I'm very close to, and people that I see that are in their 20s or older that have just gone above and beyond and done things the right way, if there ever was a right way, but the way life you would think should be, in a positive way. And we'll be talking about deeper issues like vulnerability, relationships, but with a twist, because I will not be talking about green flags or red flags, because please, we're not teenagers, we're adults here apparently. But more on adulting, more on just really becoming the best version of yourself and nurturing that inner child that is in you. So let's first start off how are we 20? Where did this happen? How did this happen? Because a lot of us turn 20 and think, okay, I'm a man now, okay, I'm a woman now, when that's not the case. I've spoken to a lot, because currently I'm working with a lot of people who are not in their 20s. They're in their 30s, they're in their 40s, they're in their 50s. And when they look at me, they see a child. Even though I am 22, they see a child. I don't see a child, but they see a child. And it's because in your 20s is the time that you're supposed to make all and every mistake. You're supposed to try everything that you can. You're supposed to go out there and do what you want, because the world will forgive you because you're young. So yeah, guys, my first advice to people would be, don't stress yourself on, I need to reach this goal by 25. Don't stress yourself, I should reach this by 27. Enjoy your 20s and don't take yourself too seriously, because you're going to do that when you're 30s, when you're getting your mortgage and you have your kids, in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s. I feel like a lot of us young people forget that there's life after your 20s. But obviously we're going to stay on the topic of this is To My 20s. And the inspiration actually for this podcast is a podcast I listen to called To My Sisters. They're a podcast that I just love. I'm their biggest fan, if anything. And what they talk about is self-development. They talk about being a woman, but I feel like if there was a space where women and men could come together and say, look, we're all going through similar things, why not talk about it and start the conversation? This is what I want to get at into my 20s, right? And also nurturing your inner child. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your inner child. Let's talk about can you think of a time when you were younger? What is it? When people asked you what you want to be when you grow up, what did you say? And another question, did you become that? Because now you're grown up. Are you that astronaut? Are you that president? Are you that presenter? Or are you just living to please everyone around you? You know? Are you just living to make ends meet? Are you just living because, you know, you just have to live up to the expectations of your parents? You know? So these are questions I ask myself and I ask you, the audience. And I guess for me, if I were to answer that, my younger self, she was a very, very hyper child. I don't think that's changed. A bit more calm now, but she was very hyper. She wanted to be the president of Ireland, even though she was an immigrant. She wanted to be a spy. Don't ask why. Just don't. You'll find out why. And the most realistic thing she wanted to be was a presenter. And I feel like To My 20's is her taking that and that leap of faith and becoming the woman she wanted to be when she was younger. So to my younger self, I say she was very fearless. She did what she wanted to do when she wanted to do. She wasn't people pleasing. She was just herself. And I feel like we would be less afraid of the opinion of other people if we did justice to our younger self, our inner child, if that makes sense. Nourish your inner self, your inner child. Nourish that inner child because they deserve to live their dreams as well, you know? And moving on, what do I do for fun? What does the child that I was younger wanted to do for fun? She wanted to dance, but her parents would never let her. She wanted to go to different countries, but that was a bit long. That was a bit sticky. We'll get into that later. But now I can say today that I've traveled to so many different countries. I've had the honor of working on a project in the EU where I was able to go to Greece, Italy, Portugal, Spain, you name it. And I've also been able to learn a second language, French. We're getting there. We're not fluent yet, but we're getting there. But through all of it, I've met so many amazing people. And the one thing I feel like that has helped me through all of it was having an open mind and not being too quick to judge people. Even though we all do judge people, not going off your judgments, if that makes sense. Because people, they will shock you. They will really shock you because you never really know what a person is unless you see them by their actions and how they act instead of what they say necessarily. But yeah, guys, that's a little bit about me. That's a little teaser into what we're going to be talking about on here. Next time we'll be having a guest. Most of the times we'll be having guests, but this is a solo episode. So I've been Amanda. This has been To My 20's, and make sure you follow us on Instagram at To My 20's. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.